everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Today I'm going to be doing the Quarter Year Crisis book tag. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name's Alice and I have way too many books. Today I'm going to be checking in on my reading for the year so far and doing the Quarter Year Crisis book tag. This tag was originally created by Roisin's Reading, and I will link her channel in the description box down below, along with the lovely Gemma Books who tagged me for this tag. So if you haven't checked out Gemma's channel yet, please do go and check her out. So this is a tag all about checking in on your reading for the first quarter of the year, and I've gone slightly over that quarter because we're now nearly halfway through April, but never mind. Question 1 is, how many books have you read this year so far? And I've read 41 books. When I was first tagged in this, I think I'd read 39, but it was still a bit after March, so quarter of the year I'm not 100% sure, but currently I'm on 41 books. I think 4 of those have been rereads. I haven't counted the children's picture books that I've been reading for Picture This 2022 though. If you're interested in reading more children's picture books, do go and check out Picture This 2022, which is being run by the lovely Jack over at Spread Book Joy and the lovely Shelley at Shelley Swearingen. I'll link both of their channels down below as well so you can find out more. Anyway, question 2 was, have you already found a book you think might be a 2020 favourite? And it also says, if not, what was your favourite book you read that wasn't quite 5 stars? I have only very recently read a book that I think will make my favourites of the year. It's my first book that I would rate 5 stars for the whole year, and that probably sounds like I'm being a bit stingy with star ratings. I wouldn't say I've read many books that I didn't like this year. I've been pretty lucky and most of the books I've read have been sort of 4 stars, but I've only had one 5-star read, and that was a book I found through the Booktube prize, and it's Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Dewar. If you haven't seen any of my recent videos about the Booktube prize, this was my favourite book that I had to read for the Booktube prize, and it's so much of a favourite for me that I've since acquired this copy. I did read it from the library initially, but my mum's bought me a new copy, so I'm really happy to own this. This is a wonderful story. It has a lot of elements in it that I really love, like libraries and learning to read, the printed word being passed down from sort of ancient times to now to the future. This has 3 separate timelines. One is set during the Siege of Constantinople in 1453. That features 2 characters called Anna and Omer. We're also following 2 characters in present day in 2020, an octogenarian called Zeno and a teenager called Seymour. And finally we also follow Constance, who lives decades from now on a spaceship and is just finding out about the world's past and her future through the library system in her spaceship. And all 3 of those threads are connected by the same book, an ancient text called Cloud Cuckoo Land, written by Antonius Diogenes, and the book is structured around the folios of this long lost book. So if you love libraries and you love storylines that span several different time frames, this is definitely a book for you. I would be hugely surprised if this doesn't make my top books of the year. I would have to read more than 10 better books than this, and I don't think that's going to happen. I absolutely love this book. 5 stars for this, my only 5 stars of the year so far. Question 3 was, have you read any 1-star books or your least favourite book of the year? So I haven't actually rated any books 1 stars. I actually don't think I've ever rated a book 1 star in my life, because I'm not sure I would continue reading a book that I thought was that bad. I've occasionally rated some books 2 stars. This year I wouldn't say, I probably haven't, I think I have rated a book 2 stars, but there are 2 books that stand out for me as being the 2 books that I probably should have DNF'd this year and didn't. I kept going with both of these and I don't think I should have. So the first one was The Acts of King Arthur and His Noble Knights by John Steinbeck. Unfortunately, this was an unfinished book that was published posthumously, and I just didn't get on with this at all. It was far from what I've read about King Arthur before, and although it was essentially a retelling of some of the Arthurian tales, it was badly let down by the fact that it wasn't finished and didn't have any of the, in my opinion, best stories. I didn't really enjoy my read of that pretty much at all. The only thing saving it was one story in it was better than the others, but that was a real disappointment. My other least favourite book of the year, and I probably like this even less, was The Breaking Point by Mary Roberts Rinehart. I read this for a read-along during March Mystery Madness, and probably the combination of it being a read-along and it being my first Mary Roberts Rinehart and it being a mystery all made me want to finish the book, even though I just wasn't interested. It bored me and I shouldn't have carried on. So I will try another Mary Roberts Rinehart, but probably not soon, and definitely not another one like that one. So question 4 is, what was your most read genre so far? I haven't actually looked this up, but I'm guessing it's going to be mysteries. So yeah, according to Storygraph, my top genre has been mystery, followed by classics, followed by crime, followed by thriller. But yeah, so mystery, classics, and crime. What a surprise. A book that surprised you is the next question. Definitely Cloud Cuckoo Land. I was really pleasantly surprised by that. I was actually really surprised by all of the books I read for the Booktube prize. None of the books that I got for the Booktube prize were books that I would really read. They were all had a bit of a historical fiction type element to them, and they all really surprised me, especially The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. was a really big surprise how much I loved that in the end. I would mention How Beautiful We Were by Mbolo Mbue. I didn't rate this very highly in my group, but it is a book that I've carried on thinking about, and it was definitely a big surprise to me that I didn't dislike this book more. It was very, very well written and a beautiful book, and it's made me want to, both of those books have made me want to look out for more books that are sort of intergenerational, books that are set in different cultures and explore like different historical things that I haven't been interested in before. A book that I'm reading at the moment, which is really surprising me, is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. I'm reading this with Gemma Books' read-along, and Gemma's hosting this. I said I would participate in it even though I didn't think it was a book that would be my cup of tea, but I'm enjoying it so much. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get converted to reading more multi-generational family sagas, but maybe. The next question is a book that's come out in 2022 already that you want to read but haven't yet. One that I'm really excited about is The Locked Room by Ellie Griffiths. This is the latest book in her Ruth Galloway series, and I've read all of these as audiobooks, and I listened to the most recent 2, I think I listened to last year, and then there was no more, and I was very sad. And the new one has come out in the last month, I think, so I'm really looking forward to listening to that, and I've downloaded that in readiness. And the other book that I forgot to bring up here that I already have that came out this year that I would really like to read is The Christie Affair by Nina de Gramont. Yeah, my mum bought me a beautiful hardback copy of this, which I will show you here somewhere, and I haven't read it yet, so I'm looking forward to getting to that. So the next 2 questions are about goals that you are succeeding in and goals you need to focus on. I thought we'd do a bit of an update on my goals and how I'm getting on with them here. I had an overall goal that I wanted to read about 72 books this year. I'm not too hung up on the numbers. I read over 100 books last year for the first time ever, and I kind of wanted to calm that down and not pressure myself to try and read 100 again. So I set a goal of 72. I think that was quite realistic, and that's going very well because I've already read 41. So I'm over halfway on that goal, probably looking good for reading 100 again. My next goal, and my main goal, was to get my giant TBR down to 150 books. That is not going well at all. That's definitely a goal I need to work on. I've started buying books again when I was previously on a pretty strict book buying ban, and it makes me really, really happy to buy books, and so far I've managed to keep the TBR so that it does go down every month, but it's been going down by about 1. So the TBR currently stands around about 188 books, and I really do need to concentrate on reading some of those books before I get any more. So that's one that I do need to focus on. So I said I would read 52 books from the giant TBR. So I have read 15 books, I think, from the giant bookshelf, and we are on, I think, week 15 of the year, so that is actually going okay. I also wanted to read 12 new releases this year. I think I've read, if we include the ones for the Booktube prize, I've read 6 there, and I read 2 others that I've done reviews of, so that is 8, so I'm doing really well on my goal of 12. And I'm also currently reading a new release, and I've got a new release out of the library, so I'm doing very well on that one, I would say. I also wanted to read 5 more Shakespeare plays. I haven't done any yet, so I do need to crack on with that goal. And I wanted to read 5 more of the 100 greatest classic books according to Penguin. I've read 1 more so far of those books, which is The Sea by Iris Murdoch, so I've checked that off the list, and that means I only need to read 4 more this year, so I think that one's going okay. We've only had 3 months so far. I also wanted to read more classic crime and thrillers, and to do so I joined AJ Dunn Reads and Writes Killer Reads Thriller Month Book Club, which I have been joining in so far. So firstly we read The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith. The second read was Gone Girl, which I'd already read. And the third read was Those Bones Are Not My Child by Toni Cade Bambara, which I'm still working on. And the April pick is Enduring Love, which I'm currently reading. So I'm currently reading 2 of them at once. But yeah, that one's going well. I'm planning to join in as many of those reads as possible. And my final reading goal for this year was to finish Don Quixote. As you know, if you've been watching my recent videos, I haven't yet finished Don Quixote. I tried to press on with it for March of the Mammoths, but as usual, it keeps getting put to one side every time I've got something different to read. So yeah, poor Don and I will struggle on. I definitely want to finish it this year. So ideally I would finish it this month in April, but we'll see how it goes. I did read a few chapters yesterday, so fingers crossed. That was my goals. So the next and last question was new to you booktubers who you would recommend. So I would say that most of the booktubers that I've been watching lately are booktubers who I've been following for a while. I would say 2 that I have really recently subscribed to have been Very Literary Kari, Lindy's Magpie Reads, and I recently discovered Reading with a Vengeance, which is a great channel. All 3 of those are absolutely fantastic, and I think all 3 of them I discovered through Gemma books, so thanks Gem for the recommendations. If you would also like to check in with your reading goals and have a bit of a quarter year crisis, I do encourage you to do this tag. I'm going to tag AJ Dunn Reads and Writes, and I'm going to tag Emily at Novelle Novels. That was the quarter year crisis book tag. I don't think I'm having too much of a crisis. Things seem to be going okay so far with reading this year. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below about what you've been reading in this quarter, how you're getting on with any reading goals you may have set yourself, and what have been your favourite and least favourite books of the year so far. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll look forward to seeing you all again soon for another video all about books here on Alice in the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.